Hey, 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 and welcome. Welcome to Terry Messenger's Genius Zone. And for those of you who may not have listened to anything before, this is the place and the space where you can expect gold nuggets, where we bring talented people onto the show that are prepared to share with you some gold nuggets. Now, what we've got lined up in this show is very exciting. I know for a fact there is going to be so many of my own girlfriends and people that I know that are going to be really interested in hearing this. So I will be definitely recommending this podcast for that goddess, for that woman, for that beautiful lady out there who really wants to tap into her feminine magic and awaken the goddess within and empower yourself so you can attract your desired soulmate. Now, maybe in this case, it may be that you already know your soulmate. You may be with your soulmate. So we are going to really just have a really juicy chat about this. And with no further ado, I'd love to introduce to you all the beautiful Giada Tremonti. Hello, how are you, Giada?
Hello, Terry. Thank you so much for having me here. I'm absolutely great. I am super excited to speak with you, and I'm doing great, and I can't wait to share, like you said, all the juicy gold nuggets about the goddess, about our feminine magic as a woman, and how important it is to connect within ourselves with that inner power.
Oh, that's so good. I can't wait. And I know there's going to be a lot of people that are going to be really wanting to hear what you've got to say right here. So I guess my first question, which I always ask everyone, where are you?
So I'm currently based in the UK, precisely in London.
Awesome, beautiful London. I tell you what, I am definitely attracting a lot of people from Europe at the moment, London, right through to Sweden and Finland. So there's just a really big trend happening there. And, one of the things I do, Giada, is, as you know, by the name of the show, Terry Messenger's Genius Zone, it's all about that specialty that each of us bring. And I know that your specialty is in this magic of creating that soulmate. And so I want to ask you, what inspired you to really have this topic on your heart and to really bring it to your audience?
Sure. My personal journey inspired me to basically to bring this topic to my heart. Like you said, I have been through myself in the past. I've been through a journey where I wasn't happy. I was perhaps to keep attracting the wrong type of men or unavailable men. So that was something that really inspired me to understand more about that and to basically go through this journey.
Well, I know that the listeners out there are going to be, they're going to have some burning questions on their heart. And because you are going to be the authority on this topic, can we ask what age category you're in?
Sure. So you mean myself?
Or yes, yourself, yes.
I am 43 at the moment. Yeah.
Beautiful. I think that's an absolutely ideal age because you're still young and yet you've got enough experience to really be able to speak with a lot of authority. So, okay, so you have a lot of experiences yourself. And look, this is definitely what I have noticed in every single person that I really draw their zone of genius. I always find that it's a weakness. It's something that has challenged them greatly, and it's almost been a situation where they've turned around in their life and they've gone, I'm not letting this happen anymore.
That's right.
And they've just made that turnaround. So, tell me about your journey. Where did it all begin? And, where are you right now?
Sure. So so it all started in my latest 20s, and I was aware of my patterns. I was keep attracting unavailable men who didn't want to commit. And I realized I was always the one who was constantly overdoing or overgiving. And that led me into the feminine and masculine energies, because some of you might be aware of this, but all of us have these two energies within ourselves. And of course, the two energies are extremely important. So the key, of course, is about to have these two energies balanced within, but especially in a relationship with a man. If we are overly operating from our masculine energy, what happens is that we will automatically, naturally attract a man who is more into his feminine energy. So what that means, I'm going to briefly explain very quickly what masculine and feminine energies are. So the masculine is about doing, it's compared to our logic, leading, where the feminine energy is about being, is about really being present in the moment, being present in your body, being vulnerable, being more connected with yourself, with your intuitions, with your body. So, this is what happened to me at the time. I realized that I was overly operating from my masculine energy. And so I naturally attracted men who were more into their feminine energy, which means that they didn't really want to take any decision. They preferred to go with the flow. Like,
Okay. Yes.
so,
I hear you.
yeah. And I was constantly confused, like, where am I going with this relationship? And so it took me a while, but then I didn't, like you said initially, I really didn't, I was really persistent to understand why I was keep attracting the same dynamic, the same type of relationships. Yeah, the moment that I obviously I was aware, I started to work on myself, because I was really, really determined to change this dynamic. And I started to connect more with my feminine energy, because sometimes if we overly operating so much from our masculine energy, most likely we may have learned from our childhood, perhaps we may have gone through some challenges or some traumas, and sometimes we have this masculine shield as well, that it's sort of
Yes.
like help us to keep us safe, to feel protected. So I realized that, and I started to connect more with my feminine energy. Literally, just I started dancing more. I always loved dancing, but dancing for me is just the quickest way to get out of your head, be more in touch with your body, connect more with your body, and also become more confident within your body, because also it's so important to feel safe within, with your body, everything, because
Oh,
otherwise,
yeah.
yeah. And yeah, fast forward, as soon as I connected more with my feminine energy, I just let it go. I decided, no matter what, I am going to shift this. And rather than I was keeping always the focus on the man. I have to find the man, or this man has to give me what I want. I started shifting the focus within myself, inward. I really
Yeah.
started to tap more into my inner power, because I truly believe we all have that. It's just that perhaps through past experiences, challenges, or what we experienced in the past, then it's a little bit kind of like clouded. So we all have within what we desire, what we want let's say from a man in the outer world. So once we tap into that, and I always call about the goddess work, because again, as a woman, I truly believe we all have our inner goddess. And once we unleash that, once we really embody, because embodiment is really an important part. Once you embody that, you align to that energy, which is feminine energy, the magic that all of us as a women we have, your intuition, everything. Yes, basically, we will magnetize easily and effortlessly our desired soulmate and relationship.
Oh, yes. And, I mean, let's face it, what, red-blooded man is not going to fall in love with a goddess, that woman that just totally owns herself, that is, that really knows who she is from the inside out.
Absolutely.
And it kind of leads, it leads me to the question, actually, do you think that there are a lot of desperate women out there that are just trying too hard? Because I don't know about you, but I tend to see a pattern with women who are too all about their partners. They're almost sacrificing their own self. They're sort of almost not desperate, but sometimes desperate. But it's almost like they're putting that man first and worshipping him. And yet, when you talk about the goddess, I get this picture of the woman who really loves her own soul. It's not a narcissistic love, but it's a love of, of your own soul, where you're owning yourself. Do you think these women are turning men off by, with their desperation?
Absolutely, because a masculine man, a man who is embodied his healthy masculine energy, he will be naturally attracted to a feminine woman. And obviously, feminine woman, not obviously only how she look, the makeup, how she dress, but how she behaves. So a masculine man is a man that wants to feel the woman is, she's surrendered, she relaxed, and she trusts his lead. And that doesn't mean that she is going to be submissive, no, but she simply just trusts his lead, surrender to his energy. And this is how it works, because a masculine man is naturally attracted to a feminine woman, because the two energies are polarities. So this is how it works best. And yes, I do see a lot of women, they constantly trying, or they overdoing, when actually the more you shift the focus on yourself, and the more you put yourself first. If we don't do that first, unfortunately, we won't be able to attract a man who is going to do that as well, because it's just energetically, it's not going to match that.
And of course, you talked about patterns as well and breaking those patterns. So, I know when I was younger, I used to attract some horrendous men. But I mean, it wasn't that I was attracting them. I think they probably, when I look back, they probably wouldn't have even thought about having a relationship with me, with the way that I looked, because I was kind of from a fairly, well-to-do family. I was always well-dressed. I went to a private school. So, I mean, I was definitely a rebel. However, I did dress well, and I sort of discovered that inner sexuality probably when I was about 13, 14 years old. And I kind of recognized very quickly that it was powerful. Like, if you were a good looking woman and you had, like really good traits, you had some sort of power, even at that kind of an age, But strangely enough, Giada, what I was doing was I was going for the man, like all the really nice men that were going to boys' colleges that were really wanting to court me and do all the romantic things. I just didn't want to have a bar of it. It was like they were too nice.
Yeah.
And I can even remember coming home one day and seeing a car out the front of my parents' house, and this young man, it was like he had the best job, he was really respectful, and I couldn't stand him. And I knew that he was asking my parents if he could take me on a date, and I just couldn't stand him. But I was more keen on the riffraff. And the strange thing was that I got myself wound up with some pretty, unsavory type of boyfriends.
Yeah.
And looking back, I sort of think, what on earth was I doing? I mean, the guy I married was great, so I didn't stay with him. But previous to that, I really had some riffraff boyfriends, and I sort of thought, now I look back, I sort of think, I wonder if I had this kind of unconscious desire to just want to change them.
Yes, of course. We all have that, I believe. I have experienced that myself, and I believe that to a certain extent, we as the women believe that somehow we can change men. But a man can only change if he decides to do that. By all means, I have seen men that they really took responsibility for their own actions and they decided to change. I have seen that in my previous experience with clients, also within myself. I have experienced that. But again, we cannot change a man unless they decide to do it. Also, what I believe as well, I have been attracting this man as well in my teenagerhood when I was early 20s. I know exactly what you are talking about. I believe also what I realized that sometimes we also attract this kind of man, sometimes even like the bad boys or the boys that they don't really, like you say, that you was not really attracted to the nice guy. It's also because on a subconscious level, we may also be afraid of commitment. We may also believe that perhaps a committed relationship might be boring. On a certain level, I have experienced that myself, and I have also found out in some of the limiting beliefs of my clients that, some of them, first of all, they had a fear of commitment themselves, because, we can only attract someone that it's sort of like have similarities within us. It's like a mirroring to us. So yes, this is also, in my experience, what's happening as well.
It's very, very interesting. So what would you say to the woman out there? There does seem to be, like, when I listen to some of my girlfriends, there's a lot of single ladies out there, and, what would you say to them, to that woman who is perhaps really, I mean, I shouldn't use the word desperate, because if they come anywhere near me, I'll say, ditch that. That's the first thing you got to do. You got to own yourself. You've got to almost feel like you are already taken. You know what I mean? Like, so you are already spoken for. And it's interesting because I was talking to this real estate agent only yesterday, and I noticed he's got this great big gold wedding ring on his left hand. And I said, have you got children? And he went on to say that he did, but then he went on to telling me that he was single. And I said, you got a wedding ring on. And he said, I wear that to keep the girls away. I thought, wow, you're not much conceit. I hope he doesn't hear the podcast. I couldn't help thinking, I said, so you have to beat the girls away with a stick, do you? And then I thought, well, maybe it's a reverse psychology. Maybe he thinks, well, if I look like I'm taken, because there's that element that, if you're desperate, it's almost like you're scaring the man. But then if you're kind of, Yeah, if you've got the more feminine energy, and I don't know, I think there's something alluring about that, isn't there?
Absolutely. And desperation really, it's like, or is it, even now, if I'm tuning it, it's like a repelling energy. So absolutely. First of all, like I say, the men would either be scared and might run away, or it's just going to be repelled because, it's about really, I would say, first of all, I would say to this woman, you can change your current dynamic, your current pattern. You can change that. As long as obviously, we become aware of what is going on, but you can change that. And I also wanted to say that there is nothing wrong with her. It's just about really tapping into the inner power that she has already within. It's just about really up leveling the mindset and the energy and just align herself, embody that feminine energy, that goddess energy. It is absolutely, I would say, it's not going to take a long time, and it's easier than said than done. But I would say, as long as she is going to decide to commit to herself, willing
Yes.
to commit to yourself first, and to give everything that you desire to yourself first. We all have everything within ourselves. So first we have to give that to ourselves. We have to, embody that beautiful energy, unleash that feminine power that we all have, the feminine magic, and then really just trust and let it go. And really trust it that, it will come, it will happen as well, 100%.
Yeah. So, when you're actually taking on clients and, do you do this one-on-one data, or do you do it in programs? Tell me about that.
Yeah. So I usually have a call with them first. We do like a complimentary call because I wanted to see where they are at the moment, what is it that is not currently working, and what is the deep desire. Because I really want them to connect with the desire and what it would feel like for them to have that in their life. And then yes, after that, after we have our call, if we are both happy, if she's happy to proceed, if we're both happy and in alignment, I have the soulmate magnet, which I created last year. Is one of my main program. Is a 3 months program where we work deeply on the energy. It's a combination of energy healing, coaching, mindset strategies, and soul-led actions. I believe that soul-led actions are an important part because we can do all the healing, all the session and everything, but we also need to take the action as well to integrate and to embody.
Absolutely. Yes. Yes. I mean, nobody ever got anywhere just sitting on a mountaintop saying "Om," did they? I mean, really, there's a lot more to it than just, and I do, I hear that. And I think it's interesting, actually. I know I digress a little, but just on that topic of taking action, you get the people, like, I know that in my business, I was always the action taker. I was always that high achiever, wanted to strive for success. And I actually found, when I found my ambition in the work that I do, I feel like I became more of a magnet. Maybe because maybe I wasn't boy crazy, like you are when you're a teenager, like for some girls. And I think I went through that phase where I was just really focused on, like friendships and going out and doing all the things. And then when I felt this ambition about my God-given purpose, it's almost like, well, my energy, my focus changed. And of course, I did all the inner healing and, you know, became the practitioner, then went on to becoming a clinical hypnotherapist. But I always took massive aligned action. But
Exactly.
yeah, but you know, it's getting that, in a way, it's finding that balance, isn't it? Because some
Absolutely.
people are taking too much action and then they're in their masculine, like I know I was at one stage. And then on the other hand, they can be too far on the other side and not taking any action at all. Do you see that happening?
Um, I would say once we teach, I usually teach my client, first of all, when they join my program, I teach them and I give them a very detailed explanation about the feminine, the masculine, and I personally I work with them individually. So I ask them through the coaching certain question as to what would it be for them to embody more of the feminine energy? Because of course I can give you some advice, for instance, what you know, but ultimately, what would it feel like for you right now to connect more with your feminine energy? What do you think you should do next? So what a small action, a small step you can take on a daily basis to connect more with the feminine energy? And of course, you know, once they start doing that, then I help them to create that balance. It's about really creating that balance within through the inner healing, through the coaching, through the mindset strategies and everything. But also ultimately, it's going to be um, a work that is going to help them to unleash that power that they already have within, that inner power that ultimately I help them to empower themselves so they will then know what to do next. It's not something that it would be, okay, now I have to do that. You know, it will be more connecting through, you know, with their soul, with the heart, and then through that embodiment they will feel more confident. Okay, this is what I feel I should do next, and this is what, you know. So in my experience, they usually get to that balance. It's about really finding that balance within, and it
Mm.
works really well.
It sounds like that's your kind of knack, where you can bring that beautiful feminine and masculine energy and help them balance. And you know, that's amazing. So I'm kind of also, I do have one last question, and then I'm going to just ask you if you've got any specific secret sources that you would tell the ladies out there, in terms of, you know, what, you know, if they're looking for their soul partner, you know, what they can do, or if they're wanting to have their current partner even just really treat them the way they deserve. But yeah, just one last thing before I move over to that
Sure.
is that, you know, what do you say when you get a woman who is totally in love with a man, and that man is not really, he's dumped her, he's been cruel to her, you know, you can tell. I mean, I see this happening so much, and it's almost like, what do you see in this person? And they are so in love with this person. So I'm just going to give you a quick example before I go over to you there. I
Yeah.
had a woman, and you know, I was helping her, I was training her in NLP and hypnosis. And I said to her, you know, you haven't been in a relationship for a very long time then. She said, Terry, I don't want anybody else, I only want that man. And I said to her, what if he's not the right one? And she said, oh, but that's who I want, I don't want anybody else. So she'd kept herself single, she couldn't look at anyone else. And I said, well, you've done a lot of work with me, you've done a lot of NLP, you've made lots of changes in your life. What if you were able to really express and understand the energy of what you love about that guy so much? I don't want, you know, I don't need to know who he is or him particularly, but the energy he brings to you and what it is that you love about him so much that you only want him and no one else. So she gave me a bit of a list. And then at the end of it, I said, well, what if the universe has heard what you're asking energetically, but what if he's not the right man? And she said, well, I don't know. I just can't see that. Anyway, long story short, we finished our call. She'd made a list of what she wanted energetically. She told me what she loved about him, or what she thought she loved about him. But it's sometimes what we perceive and what is real is, like you would know, very different.
I was going to say that, yeah.
Yeah. And then about a week later, or 2 weeks later, I saw she was in a relationship. I thought, oh, I wonder if she got back with him, because sometimes that can happen and it can kind of draw that person. So I got in contact with her and she said, Terry, I met the man of my dreams. Yeah. And it was the person who actually did hold that energy. And, it was just a case of her letting go. So, what would you say about that to the woman yourself? Because you being the specialist in it, that hasn't been treated the way she deserves. You can see it, you can hear it, and she wants that person. What would you say to her?
First of all, I would say, to try, and because ultimately this person, she was being really rigid in her thoughts, like, no, it has to be this way, not letting it go, and that's it, I want him, otherwise I'll be single. So it's about really just the more you relax and let that go, and really it's about trusting that no matter what, the universe, whoever she would resonate with most, creator, higher intelligence source, divine source energy, will have your back. No matter what, it's about really letting that go, become more present within yourself. And also, I would say, to really become super clear on the type of relationship that you would love to be with a man, the qualities, and also to make sure we also can provide the same qualities, because again, like attract like. So we always attract someone who is, somehow has some similarities within us. Of course, it is not going to be exactly the same as us, but we always mirroring each other. And it's about really the more we let ourselves go, because ultimately, even when we want to manifest something, if we become so fixated, when is this man going to manifest, or when am I going to go back with him, or is my relationship going to go to the next level? If we're so fixated with our thoughts, that is the masculine energy. It's not. So it's all about really bringing back the energy to ourselves, to your, to yourself, to your body. Connect more to the body, relax, because ultimately, this example that you gave me, the lady doesn't feel totally relaxed, and also I'm feeling that she doesn't feel totally safe to let go and trust. So yeah.
That's a really good one, actually. I think the gold nuggets right there is there's three. It's relax, it's be present, and let go.
Yes.
I love that. Well, there's our gold nuggets. That is so good. So, Giada, how do people get hold of you if they want to obviously have your service?
Sure. So my business is called Goddess Elements. So I have a website, www.goddesselements.com, but I am also on Instagram, which is GODD.elements. So that's my Instagram profile. And yes,
and we'll definitely put that link into the podcast anyways. So that's amazing. We'll do that for you. So yeah, I love that. So what would you share if you could share some juicy gold nuggets to that woman that is so just wanting to have, you know, some really, I guess, I mean, we've got 3 right here, which I can't see us beating, but is there anything else that you would share?
Sure. I would say definitely, what is it that sparks your heart? What is that thing that you do that sparks your heart more? Just keep doing that thing more often, whether it's going out for a walk, traveling, or dancing, exercising, or cooking, listening to music, just whatever sparks your soul more, just keep doing that. Keep connecting more with yourself, because the more we connect with ourselves, the more we are going to embody and own who we truly are. And also the more we're going to have a better understanding, a deeper understanding of what we want in a relationship with a man. Because sometimes I do find that in my work with clients, initially they do think they know what they want, but actually deep down they don't really know exactly in detail what they really want to experience in a relationship with a man, and the type of qualities that a soulmate must have. So it's so important to be super clear and to really have intention. Anything has to be with an intention as well, because the more we create and set intention, and the more we can magnetize on top of with this other juicy advice that I gave you, we can magnetize what we truly desire easily.
Oh, yeah. So you hear that, ladies, and maybe even men. Men, I know a lot of men listen to this podcast, but do what lights you up. You know, spark that flame, and have your intention set. You know, that intention is so powerful, and have clarity. And you know what I've really heard Garda be able to really say tonight or today, whenever you're listening to this, and it's Jada too, by the way, is be present. Be present, and you know, the acceptance, the surrender, and just the whole releasing. So what a beautiful recipe for that woman who really just will benefit so much from embodying and embracing her goddess.
Beautiful. I love that, Terry. You couldn't have said more better than that. That's amazing. I love it. I'm having goosebumps.
It's because I'm reading your zone of genius. So that's what I do. So thank you so much. It's been an absolute pleasure. I could have this chat with you for the next day, because it's just so exciting. And there's so many questions I know that ladies are going to want to ask too. So definitely direct them to Jada Tremonti, and you'll find her on Instagram. And thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Yes, and just wait backstage. I'll be right with you. So, guys, if you have enjoyed this session, please go and find the link and click on it, and you can connect with Jada. And maybe you've got a story yourself. Maybe you've got a zone of genius and you would like to be spotlighted right here. You can go to my website, terrymessenger.com, and click on a call, and let's connect and find out how we can bring your zone of genius to the audience. Or maybe even if you just simply want to find out what it is that is your God-given purpose, I would love to hear from you. So with no further ado, thank you so much for your time. And until our next session, I'll see you soon. Bye.